joining on. So happy to, be in your energy for Friday. And we do like our conscious entrepreneurship talk every Friday. So today we're just discussing a little bit about like our stories, how we got started in our own businesses. Hi, Shian. Oh my God. Nice to see you. It's been a long time. Oh my God. Okay, I lost my train of thought, Cheyenne. But it's so cool. Actually, Cheyenne made my first. Oh my God, this is really cool because he made my first business card for Exalter.
Oh, nice.
My first ever business card, which was like,
I might remember
over 10 years ago. It was black. I like remember it. Like it's like such in my vision.
Because
like,
I think it had a picture that I took of you on it.
It had a picture of me on it, yeah. And it just had like these beautiful Exalter letters on there. Yeah. I loved it. And how cool. Yeah, he's like, yep. It was the coolest. So, so happy to have us here today. So yeah, what we're talking about is like our businesses, just like that, like I started like Exalter, whatever it was going to be, like over 10 years ago. And we wanted to talk about just like all those little evolutions in the meantime, because sometimes we think that, man, everything needs to work out in the beginning, or that we think our business is one thing and it turns into something completely different.
Right.
And so we want to just like give ourselves that time and that like evolution and allow things to flow and also move with the changes. And we change so much as individuals and as people as we have our business. So we thought we'd let you in just a little bit about our own stories, how it's transitioned, what we've done like kind of like in the meantime.
Yep.
And I feel like, yeah, a lot of people don't talk about that, right? Like, oh, I was actually just working a job and my business was on pause for a good year or two, and like kind of what really happened. So we'd love to talk about that. And yeah, so we can kind of get started. Brett, since I've been just talking so much.
So I think to introduce, or I guess to introduce this, I feel like we should talk about like, I mean, obviously like what we do now, versus what we, I guess, started envisioning ourselves doing. But yeah, so do you want to go first? Should I?
Yeah, go ahead. If you go. Yeah.
Also, I just must say that me and Stacy did not decide on this color choice, together. Yeah. This is a surprise.
Even the hair up, like the hair back, like I just feel like we're in the vibes. Yeah, so love that. Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so my story, where did I start? So I mean, I've always kind of wanted to be an artist. I first started drawing because my grandpa started teaching me. Let's see, I have right down here on my desk. This like first journal he started teaching me art in. And like I started doing art. I don't know, maybe when I was like, this is where I started, guys. I've come a long way.
That's so cute, right?
I know. So this is in 1999.
Wow.
So yeah. But anyway, my grandpa taught me how to draw for the first time, and so he believed in me. Like he believed in me really, that I could do whatever I want. He always told me I could do whatever I want. So I just always had it in my head that I kind of wanted to do something with art, but I wasn't really sure. And it was something I just did for fun, because art's fun, whatever. And so, but then I got more into it in high school, and I decided that, it was something that I wanted to pursue further. So I did like AP art in high school. I had my first art show when I was like 18. Or 17, I guess, in high school. And then I sold my first paintings then too, which was really exciting. And it kind of gave me the confidence to be like, okay, like I can do this, like I have the ability to actually sell art and I have the ability to show art. So I knew that I wanted to pursue it further in college. But speaking of, like just how unforeseen, the path is, when I went to college and I really wanted to get into the art, the fine arts section or whatever. Like I showed my paintings, I presented my paintings, I got the top, AP score that you could get on the test, but the head of the department, he was just kind of an asshole and he didn't let me in. He did not let me in the program, and so I was really sad, and I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. But then I decided like, okay, like how can how can I make this work for me? You know, even though it's a letdown, even though I feel like really bummed out about it and I don't know what that is going to mean for my future. So a lot of Black teachers were in this presentation of like who can be in the, you know, the art college section. And they all loved my art and they were all like, you know, taken away that I didn't get in either. So a lot of teachers, like a lot of Black faculty ended up taking me under their wing when I was in college. Like an AFAM teacher, she was really close to me. She ended up showing my art in like, you know, the AFAM section in that department and giving me support there. There was the dean of, or vice president, I guess, of the school, actually. She was Black. She took me under her wing. She hired me for work study. At the time, I don't know how it is now, we really should check in on that. But at the time, it was really like, we had a really strong Black community and we really stuck together and we really like supported each other and like stood up for each other. And Black faculty would like stand up for students because it was racist a lot of the time there. And so like, that was just really, it was frustrating, but it was like, wow, like I support, okay, people support me, you know, like even though that this was a bummer and this is like kind of like, I feel like a failure, I still have new relationships and more support. And then like the faculty ended up actually purchasing some of my art that I created in, you know, my last year of high school. And then so it just gave me the confidence that I needed, even though like I failed at something, like I got back up. And so then I thought about it and I was like, maybe, you know what, I should just go in and do more like graphic design, because if I really want to push my art forward, I'm gonna need like graphic design to be able to promote and market and push it forward. So, and I already knew how to draw, how to paint, like I already knew everything. So because my grandpa had started teaching me so early. So it was really kind of like a blessing in disguise. And it ended up going into, you know, graphic design, and which still included some like drawing courses. So it was good. Worked out how life works sometimes.
Yeah.
And then like my actual company that is now, it was my senior thesis. So it started just like bare bones of what it is now. I did not expect to turn my business into a nonprofit so soon. I figured like when I'm like 45, I'm gonna have a nonprofit. Like, and I don't know why that was always in my head, but it was.
So I'm curious, if you don't mind, what was the senior thesis about? Like why did you like choose, or what was your senior thesis? Because that sounds really cool.
Yeah, so it was just like the concept of it, it was stuck. Like we had thought of the name by then or whatever.
Yeah.
But like the concept of it was that for women of color, but clothing for women of color, like a clothing brand for women of color, and to like merge art and clothing, like wearable art. And so that is an aspect of what Stuck is, but that was like the first like chapter of it, the first bit of it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, because I don't remember.
Obviously, I remember the you know, us thinking about and talking about this, but then also like it's so cool to just hear that, like, oh wow, like it was really just like having this empowerment, like art onto clothing, like oh my god, so amazing.
Yeah, do you remember the first? I don't know if you remember the first shirts that I did, but I started printing them in college, and like I literally started silk screening myself, which is so hard, and I respect people who do that so much, because me and my friend Tiffany at the time, we were doing it together, and she was super talented. She was better than I was at it, but like we'd be up so late just, you know, like just silk screening shirts, and we just kind of got really good at the process. Like she was better at silk screening, but like our styles merged together for like how we designed it. So yeah, it kind of started that way of like, you know, clothing. And then like later after college, I started kind of building it out more, like, what should this be? Like, should this be a design firm or whatnot? And slowly but surely my illustrations kind of started evolving for it, but they didn't have those, like, they didn't have the affirmations attached to them then, like, you know. And later on, a friend suggested that I do that. So that happened too. That was like chapter 2. It's like, you know, I feel like your company and your career can definitely like evolve and grow in chapters. And I really did always want it to like evolve as I did and evolve as we did, you know? So like, and it's just part of like the experience, I think, of being a woman and growing as a woman. And so then I, you know, came up with my illustrations, like a collection of illustrations just for Stuck. And I built out Stuck like with a team, blog, all that. You know, it was kind of like a
I remember rocking your Do You beanie. That is still so hot. I still have that.
Yes, we've dropped them again, like, because we used to do them, you know, way back when, and I ended up, like, you know, saying, like, you know what, these designs are pretty timeless,
right?
And so
I released them again. Remember, we started going out and doing all these different things, and then like going to shows, going to all the rap shows, going. You know, a lot of our friends were rappers at the time.
Yeah,
we had a lot of rapper friends.
Yeah, we did.
We did going to their shows, and you know, style and fashion was so big for us at that time, which still is, but
it was a really important thing at LMU.
Yeah, it was really important. And then like to be able to have something that was empowering, that was with a woman of color, and that was like in the vibes, like it was so dope.
Yeah, thank you. And I think that like, you know, it was cool because I could wear my designs at like all these events that we would go to, and we were I would say we were socialites. I would say
we were in,
you know, and we still can be, even though it's a pandemic.
Yeah, it was fun.
We would be out all the time. Me and Stacey used to like sleep in the day and like go out at night. But that was also how we really networked and how we like built up our businesses and built up like our followings, and like how we just met people who were also creative and also like doing similar things that we were doing. And it was a great way to connect, I think. And
I think, you know what, we were always inspired by other entrepreneurs, like be it rappers, be it other artists, be it like we were just so inspired by other people that were like, you know, using their craft or their light or their whatever it is that they're doing. And that's true, you know, that like kind of early days of how we started networking. We were networking in different ways, but it was so cool that we're always able to like bring other communities together. So I'm just sidetracking on all the you're talking about.
Because that makes me think of something.
Yeah.
Because then it's like this other mid chapter came in, I feel like in between, which is like we realized like we were good at throwing events, you know, we realized we were great at doing that. And we learned a lot about that, you know, like from Jamal. And then like that also weaved into the vision of what is now Stuck, because I was like, okay, now like we have t-shirts, cool. Now we have like a art collection attached to it, dope. Now we have like the ability to throw, host, put on events, and we know what we're doing. We know how to like financially put it on, because Jamal like taught us so much about that. And it just all started coming together, and I was like, great. So once I started having more like consistent events, I threw a brunch, etc. Then I was like even ready to build it out more. And I was like, I really want partnerships, you know, like I really want like solid partnerships so I can really help girls of color more so. But I want a community of women that supports these girls and can uplift these girls and teach them, you know, like what we know and how far we come, etc. So I ended up, you know, like reaching out to this school in Ghana, just like on a whim. And with that first call, I called like the owner of the school, and within that first call, I like got an invitation to come to Ghana and to establish a partnership there. And like, you know, they paid for my visa, my travel, like hosted me, everything. So it was great. And that was like the final piece and brought it all full circle, because then I was just like, okay, you know what? Ghana really inspired me. Like this, I've seen the disparity there, and I know like, and it just made me like, we have phones, like we have pencils, like we have things that, you know, that we take for granted so much. And it changed my perspective. It changed my life. And I was like, I have to make this a 501c3 now. I have to make it a nonprofit. And that made like my whole vision, my full vision finally like come together. And like, that is what is now my company. It went through many different versions, but yeah, I'm so thankful for each and every chapter because like I learned so much and I met so many powerful people that helped me along the way and that, you know, will still help me, you know, along the way as I build and expand it even further. So I've had so many great relationships and so much powerful support that like I could have never even imagined, but because it's just like my passion and because I just like went for it, then like these people started coming towards me and like, you know, helping me and supporting me and like just in ways, yeah, just ways literally I could not even dream of. So I'm super thankful. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. And then I've always done, you know, art on the side, but yeah, in that whole journey, we've had many jobs to sustain. So there's that too. But you tell your origin story of how that happened.
Well, I want to make a comment too. I mean, just for like just reflection on like who, you know, whoever's listening, just like I love to hear your story. I love to hear it again and kind of like relive those moments since I've like kind of, you know, been so close to it as well. Yeah. But the fun thing is like, you know, I think for me, which I'll get to my story as well, but for me, when I see and even hear your story, it's just like remembering that things transition. And that's what we're talking about. Things transition, things change. And sometimes we're like so ready for that thing right now. Like we want to know what our big business is going to be, or why is this not happening, or whatever it is. But it's like, whoa, like all these different transitions, like they had to happen at the right timing. Like you had to have had the art already established, then the clothing line, then this thing. And then that brought you to this other opportunity. Like if you didn't do any of that, if you were like at zero, just like waiting for something to happen, when you got the call from Ghana, you don't have anything yet. So like it just reminds me of like, you know, what Oprah says, like about preparation meeting opportunity. That's when like the magic happens. And sometimes we don't really like, it's crazy to think like we're preparing for something, like what we're having right now or what's going on right now may not necessarily be what's going to happen in the next 10 years, but it actually may be preparing you for that very thing that transitions you to something, whoa, completely different. Although that's, you know, ultimately, oh yeah, this is what I was going to do anyway, but it's like each step is in preparation.
Right.
So I love that.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I think that, yeah, that's all of that is completely valid. And I think that it's just so important to, you know, give thanks for every chapter of your career, every roadblock, every stepping stone, because like sometimes they can seem frustrating because of the unknown factor and like, you know, what is this going to mean for my career or where am I going to go next, you know, but it's just unknown. And so I guess there's kind of like a bit of fear or that seems scary sometimes in that way, you know, but like, yeah, each chapter, even if it's a struggle, like down the road, looking back at it, like you can really see like, okay, I see why that happened. Like I see why I had to do that to get to where I am now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, tell me about Exalter.
Okay. Yeah. So, so a little bit about my own business evolution. You know, I'll take it from where Brett's kind of like left us off. And also just in the beginning for me, I love that you said like your grandpa really kind of started you off in the art area. And for me, it was my father. So I remember like when I was in 5th grade and I had to write. I used to love writing. I loved writing anyway. I just always loved writing. And I had written a couple of poems that, you know, were getting a few looks, I guess. So people would have me like say them at one of our different recitals and so on. So that was fun. And then I won this like big essay contest and had to like deliver my essay in front of like people. So my dad was like always cheering that part on, and I loved it. And he started.
You're a great writer.
Thank you. And he started telling me about like a lot of different books. At the time, he was in network marketing, so he was in this network marketing business, and they always talked about a lot of books. But he told me about Rich Dad Poor Dad. He started telling me about How to Win Friends and Influence People. Those were the 2 main books. And then the other one was like, of course, what is it? Think and Grow Rich. Yeah. So those 3 books at 5th grade, my dad is like telling me.
Wow, you read Think and Grow Rich at 5th grade?
Yeah. Can you believe it? Oh, and he had this other book, some type of Success Secrets by Wes Beavis. So those 4 books, like they were just at my house, and they were just like, you know,
you need to add they were always there to our list.
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, I had to write a graduation speech. So I was my class president in 5th grade, and I know how embarrassing, because people used to call me, you know, like teacher's pet or whatever. I had this one boy that was oh, Gianna, thank you. I had this one boy, me and him like always were like in competition. He was vice president, I was president, and like
you are very competitive too, I must say.
Okay, yeah, and I'm very competitive, and like we used to always have like teams in school, right? Like let's say we're playing baseball or whatever. Like he has to choose a team, I have to choose a team, and we'd always go head to head. Oh my gosh. So anyway, so crazy. I'm a professional network marketer and didn't read those books until adulthood. Yeah. So it was my dad. He was just like always telling me. And then like, I got really excited about hearing of why people do things. So one of the reasons why I did that is because, I was like teased a bit, right? So like, I always was interested in like, why do people do things or say the things they're saying? And then also just like, oh, how can I like build confidence? So like, okay, people used to always tell me like, well, you know, it's kind of what you think about yourself. So why I love those books so much is because it helped me with that. It was just like, it kept on saying, whatever you think about yourself, that's what's the most important, you know? And then I remember in How to Win Friends and Influence People, it just talks about like how to build communities, how to like be more interested in the other person. So instead of being interesting, you're being more interested in the other people. And that's how you like build better relationships. And I started learning that at 5th grade because of necessity, really, because like I feel like people were really like attacking me at school. Yeah. So that's how it really started. And another thing, this is embarrassing, but I'll tell you guys just because we're here. Like I have a really round face. Okay. Oh, also like I have a lot of hair, right? So they would crack on me for my hair. And then also like and then, I don't even know if you heard this story, but anyway, they used to call me Applehead because, like, okay? So,
now that's like, now
you have not even ever talked about this, I think, like, 5th grade. So, anyway, with all that going on, that's what happened. And then I felt like I was confident enough in myself, but then there was other people that got, like, it's just in our community. We tease each other, right? People tease, like, and other girls were getting teased. I remember this one girl, I don't want to say her name because I don't know where she is in life, but I always felt really, really sad that people would do this to her, and she was really bad and she didn't have any friends. And I used to really like talk to her, and I used to be like, you know what? It's all about what you say to yourself. And I'm telling her all this stuff, you know? And like, you know, at least around me, she was like smiling and happy, and that's the best that I could have done at that age. But that kind of thing stayed with me. So that really stayed with me. And as I went into junior high and high school, it's funny that like kind of maybe I sought after them, especially people that were like not being treated fairly or you know, people being teased. I had different friendships in different classes of like, especially a couple of girls that were like not you know, not very confident in themselves. And I always used to talk to them. And like, if people didn't talk to them, like I used to talk to them like, hey, you know, how was your day? I was like, don't worry about what they say, you know? So that's really just was in me. But anyway, fast forward. Fast forward.
Well, I was also thinking like you, in essence, like you kind of coached me in college, I feel like, because, you know, I feel like we were both kind of struggling going through similar things, but I didn't know anything about like
in college.
And you were going to Landmark, remember?
Yes.
And so you knew a lot of techniques of like you know, moving through like insecurity or like confidence or like just, you know, moving through your own internal like shit and like your own family stuff to like get over those humps and be, you know, the best version of yourself. So you taught me a lot about that with like writing prompts and like things like I had never really done before.
Actually, and then you know what, I loved it because it helped me so much, and also I ended up going through so much, so I'm so happy that I had those tools. But also there's one thing's about knowledge and the other things about like practicing and like learning. So in my 20s, that's really what it was. I went through some, which a lot of us do, go through some really, really hard breakups, and a lot of those deep wounds or early wounds of how I thought about myself when I was younger, like came out when I'm like, you know, suffering through these breakups. Like, oh no, maybe I am the things that they said. Maybe I am hideous, or the things that I would tell myself. Right. And probably the most profound, one of the most, well, there's been a couple of things, but in my 20s or early 20s, right before college time, I was dating someone, and he was a little older than me, and he was in the Marines military. And when we, the way that we stopped dating is he actually just one day after 3 or 4 years kind of dealing with each other, one day he stopped talking to me completely. So he ghosted me.
Yeah.
And that's probably like right before I met Brett, but
yeah,
that sent me into like a deep depression, because I really loved this guy. You know, I thought we had a really great relationship. Our families knew each other. And also, you know, during that time was the time of like the war. A lot of things were going on. He was going back and forth to the war. And there was a lot of my heart and feeling into that. You know, I wanted to make sure he was okay. I remember going on the walkout and strikes against the war. There's a lot of stuff happening out there right now, you know, God bless. But but, you know, there was so much wrapped up. There was so much passion. There was so much feelings wrapped up. And then one day, after an argument, instead of saying like, okay, he's done, after an argument, he pretended like everything was okay. And when I left his place that day, I like never heard from him again, like at all.
Yeah.
And back then we didn't have all of the access to people like we do now. But even so, like I was looking for him, you know, I was like calling him all the time, finding his email. Like I was trying other numbers, and it was so sad, you know, like I wrapped so much of my worth into that relationship, and I had to just, you know, piece by piece, like pick myself off of the floor.
Your first relationship kind of?
Yeah. And that was like my first love, my first like, you know, really, really deep relationship that I'm in, adult relationship. And that's the thing. I just had to find ways of like really picking myself off of the floor. Like, you know, everything that I thought I possibly dealt with, right, like was coming up. And and like what I thought about myself, what I thought about love, what I thought about the world. Am I even worthy to live? Am I ever worthy to be loved? All of these things. But that's when I started Landmark. And that was, that's kind of like around the time I did Landmark. And it was an amazing, if you haven't done it or haven't looked into it, I recommend it. It's called the Landmark Forum.
Yeah, when I used to, you know, in my many jobs of sustaining this, I worked at Lululemon for a while, and you know they have it like as, I don't know, when you get to a certain point there, they'll send you to Landmark for free. But yeah, it's really great. I was gonna say though that it's so interesting that you say that, you know, about your relationship and about how he just like vanished or whatever. I feel like I went through that same kind of relationship in college, and I felt like you helped me through that, as well as, you know, dealing with your own stuff then too. But because I think you had that experience and like you worked through your stuff and you worked through it in Landmark, you were able to help me move through it as well, you know?
Which is so, which is so nice. So basically, that I really was going all those places and really in these deep personal development works for myself, and just try to, you know, better myself. And I loved reading personal development books over any other books, because I'm always trying to like, oh wow, like these techniques are so cool, and like whoa, it actually helps you with life. And then besides that, so fast forward more, like it's actually, you know, I'm really happy for that experience now, because I feel like I have such a relatable story to so many different women and the people that come into my world, and I'm excited about taking them so much faster through that evolution. Like for me, it took me years, but I helped someone get there, you know, just so much faster than I did, and just like take off so much faster. So that's really,
I feel like that's what we wanted to.
It's really what I'm passionate about.
Yes, exactly. But I think that that's what we realized, like, you know, why we realized we understood each other. Because like in college, we both realized that that is something that we want to do. Like we want to make it easier for other women, because we had been through so much and so much pain and so much struggle. And like, even with our family stuff, you know, and overcoming that and moving through, you know, our own traumas, or our own, you know, generational things, generational traumas. And then, you know, like just evolving into the best possible version of yourself. And it's just like, if we can make it any easier, I think that's what we always wanted to do, you know, with our communities.
And Gianna, what's Landmark? So it's kind of, it used to be called EST, and it's basically just like a series of seminars. So they have like a kind of a retreat weekend. That's like 3-day weekend is their beginning one. And then they have a lot of other seminars there that they host.
But
and
I think
I ended up doing just a lot of programs from there. So it's like an educational platform, but they have seminars all over the world. So if that's something you're interested in,
I was gonna say, like, I think we should have, you know, like one of these where we talk about, you know, the different workshops and things that we've done over the years, because we've both collectively done so many, and I think that they could also help people. So just throwing that up.
Yeah, so that's what's been fun, and so that's a little, definitely a side of the story, and so many things in between. But I always loved hosting events, like Brett was saying. So I was really interested in women entrepreneur events. I used to host book clubs. Like I used to host some girls and women's events with church.
Women's studies major.
And then I ended up being a women's studies major because I dropped into a class and was really interested in actually like sexuality and like how we learn about sex and love, really, because that's really where I was having so much, you know, issues about my worth, and that was coming up in, honestly, my sex. I don't know, like I couldn't even talk about this. But, you know, so many different things and so many transitions, and you know, really over the last 4 years, that's what I've dived into. A lot more development, a lot more around femininity, a lot more about spirituality. And that's what I'm like, you know, it just kind of naturally transitioned. This is not where I thought I would be. Like, I knew I wanted to be a speaker. I knew I wanted to do like coaching, and I loved like Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Joyce Meyer was huge in my life. And when I saw them, I was like, oh my God, there's something about this that's really drawing to me. Yeah. And I'm just like, I don't know, I can't do that though. I can't do that. So I ran away from doing this for so long. But finally, after like writing my book, I was like, okay, you know, I'm just inching into that world more and more, and I'm just feeling so amazing. So right now what I do is I'm mostly hosting one-on-one. So I have one-on-one clients, and I mostly work with women who are looking to, you know, either work on their money story, work on their like love and their relationships. So really transitioning yourself from the inside out. So what I always say, it's kind of like your magnetism, meaning like really stepping into who you are fully, you know, revealing more and more of who you actually are, so the right things can be attracted to you. So why I say that is because there was so much of me in that, let's say that even the military relationship, I was so wrapped up in him, meaning like I was getting my validation from his love for me, right?
Yep.
But I wasn't able to be like filled up with my own love, so that way I can share my love with someone, as opposed to me getting validation out of them. So I did that with him. And then when you do something in one place, you end up doing that everywhere else.
Yeah, that's so in career
yeah,
too.
That's exactly what I was doing in my career. So instead of my relationship, I shifted over to a career, and I became really successful at what I was doing. But I had so much of my value and worth into that career and what I did. And the way that I was moving through it was out of desperation, out of validation, out of like working myself to the ground. And again, had no, you know, real grounding of myself. So I wasn't like sharing my purpose. I was trying to get it. So the energy of trying and pulling and chasing is so much different from magnetizing, from being in your purpose. So that's what I love to do now. And that's what I walk with women doing now. And that's kind of like version of my story. Yeah.
And I feel like I'm so lucky to have you as like this free coach in your evolution over the years. But I think we're lucky to have had each other in this journey. And like, I think it's pretty rare, because like, I don't know, it's just, you know, I mean, I think it's definitely like a blessing to have the same kind of, you know, values and care about the same kind of things, and like be aiming for the same kind of, you know, direction, because it's like we haven't necessarily, well, you know, everyone's alone kind of in their own journeys. It's not like we had to be totally alone in like growing as entrepreneurs, because I think that while we had a lot of like rapper friends, artist friends, like, I don't know if we've had like Tati and some people, but you know, it's been good, you know, to have an accountability partner, to have somebody that you can like really talk to along the way. So that's where we're opening this up to you guys to be part of, you know, our community and support you guys in your journey as well. But
Yeah.
I think that's how we came to be for now, you know, at least. Who knows what we'll evolve into in the next coming years, but yeah, it's a good feeling, because I've been thinking a lot about validation, and I think we should also talk about just validation one week too. But I think that in all that growth, you really do have to come to the realization that, like, your value is not based on and linked in what you do, like, or what you can earn, or what amount of money you have. Like, you're valuable if you have $1. You're valuable if you have $1 million. You know, like, your value comes from within. Like, it's not an external thing. And I think that that's really what we had to grow into through all of these chapters of our careers and our growth.
Right. And, you know, and that's like kind of the biggest thing that I guess for us, like, the message is, like, there's so many different transitions along the way. Of course, there's ups and downs in any business. And, you know, my business changed so much, you know, started out as a blog, and then just, like, you know, was doing it for fun, really. Hosting different events, and then, you know, finally just stepping into what it is and just allowing it to evolve, allowing the different changes, I mean, I'm a mom. I really didn't do anything for the first year in anywhere, not only my business, but in any career.
I've taken time off too.
Yeah. So, so just like moving with the flow of those things, and also staying faithful and having other mentors, friends, and people in your community that kind of like, oh yeah, like, reminds you of like what's possible. And no matter where you started, it can be totally different, you know?
Yeah. And something that I remembered too is just, like, if you're, you know, down because, like, you don't think that you have, you know, such things, or you don't think you have that mentor, you have that support, or you have that community, like I'm sure you got something somewhere, you know. And it's important to just, like, give thanks for that which you do have first, and then more will come, and more will follow, and more support will, you know, inevitably come.
Exactly. All right. Well,
I think that's all for
chat. Yeah, this is our chat for Friday. So we have our Fempreneur Friday and conscious entrepreneurship chat every Friday at 9:30. So we'd love for you to join us, you know, ask questions, or, you know, just join in the vibes of, like, you know, keep going. Our message every day, every week is like, keep going.
Continue.
Yeah. And yeah, so have a great weekend. We look forward to seeing you next week. And
Oh, also, just as a note, my nonprofits campaign is still going. So if you want to support that, go to Stuck Designs Instagram, STUK Designs Instagram. And yeah, links in our bio. We're all coloring for a cause currently to support our mission and initiatives. So if you want to help support me, I'd be happy about that. So have a beautiful weekend, everybody.
Love that. Thank you, Cheyenne. You said, I can't wait to see more. You guys add what you guys add to the creative world. You know me, I'm pro woman and the strength that women can do. Amazing. And you know what? We're pro man in that as well. It's just
we are.
So something that I always love and live by is just, like, when women are at their best, they are the best partners. They are the best, you know, fuel and ambition for other men, for children, for themselves, for the world.
We've always had guy friends, a lot of guy friends.
I have so much respect and love for men. So, you know, that's the difference. But really, what I wanted to bring to, like, the whole feminist movement. So love seeing you two blossom over the years. Love you, Gianna. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, thank you so much for being here with us. Like, we totally saw your energy today, and it was such a blessing having you guys here with us during this chat. So yeah, and
until next week.
For me too, if there's any one that you know, or any other women that are, like, interested in walking into her power and magnetism, feel free to DM me, or if you're interested in any of my free groups,